What up, B Squad? It's your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys, with a brand new review for Reasonable Doubt, you guys, season 3, episode number 6, and the episode was titled No Church in the Wild. Now, I'm not sure why I was titled that, but hey, it is what it is. But before I get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, and you guys are not yet subscribed, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, you guys, and also by turning on your post notifications. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and get into this episode of Reasonable Doubt, shall we? Now, this episode opens up. So we see Ozzy. So Ozzy is having a dream, and in his dream, he sees Wendy and he sees Monica. So then he wakes up out of his dream and he went to the bathroom to splash some water on his face. And when he went to do that, who was in the room with Ozzy? Monica was in the room with Ozzy, right? And she's saying to him, "It's okay, baby." I was like, "You nasty, trifling hoe, you." Because Monica is a nasty, disgusting person. But moving on. So then we see as Jax was at an AA meeting with Eddie. So Eddie is celebrating, his sobriety birthday. And then after that, we see as his sponsor came up and he was talking to Jax. He was like, he said, "This is my daughter." He's like, "You're the one that's on that high profile case with, the Edwards boy, right?" And she was like, "Yes." So he was like, "Well, can I get a picture for the gram?" And she was like, "I don't necessarily know about that one, but we can take a picture, just to cement the joyous occasion, right?" So then after she left, because she had to go and do something. So the guy asked Eddie, like, "When are you gonna tell her the truth?" And I was like, "Tell her the truth." I was like, you know what? The more that I looked at this episode, I was like, somebody is sick and they're not telling us who it is. So we move on. So we see as Jax and Bill the scammer, they are having a conversation with Ozzy. So Jax is telling Ozzy that she wants to put Monica on the stand, right? And Ozzy is reluctant to put Monica on the stand. And Jax is telling Ozzy, like, "Ozzy, it's time to put yourself first. And also, we don't have the burden of proof on our side. What we need to do is we need to give the jury someone else that they can focus on and not you." So Ozzy he left out because Bill the scammer said to Ozzy, "Give me some time with Jax so let me have a conversation with her." So Bill the scammer is telling Jax that he feels like when it comes to Monica, he agrees with Ozzy because there's no telling what Monica will say once she gets on that stand, which I agree with him to that extent, but I also agree with Jax. It's like, okay, we cannot put her on the stand, and people are still going to look at Ozzy as if he is the person who took out Wendy, or we can feed them someone else. And I'm on Jack's side. So then we see as them raggedy ass partners, they went to go talk to Bill the scammer, right? So they told him that they're being acquired by another firm, and they keep saying that Jax doesn't play well with others. And so what they're trying to do is they want to move forward, and they don't know if Jax is going to be a good look for them moving forward. So then this is when Bill the scammer's ass decides that he wants to run his mouth to the partners and tell the partners about how Jax wants to put Monica on the stand, and he doesn't think it's a good idea. So they asked him when he told Jax that, how did she receive it? He said that she kind of received it, but she kind of didn't. And I was like, "Bill, you big dunce! Like Jax has you on this high profile case, and then you snake her like this." So we see as Jax got home, and so she told Lewis about the AA meeting, right? And she showed him the picture that she took with Eddie and his sponsor, right? And you can see Lewis's face kind of went down because Lewis realized, fuck, That's the man that I saw him with when I was snooping around, right? So Lewis looked at his phone, and Lewis couldn't do nothing but have this shocked look on his face, right? So then Jax got a phone call about Chad. And so we see as the partners and Jackson were having a meeting, right? So the partners asked Jax about the case. And she was like, you know what? It's almost over. And she said, we also found out last night that Chad stepped away. He's taking a leave from it, right? And so they asked her, who are they going to be putting in Chad's place? Now she said she didn't know, right? So then they started talking about the witnesses, right? And she kind of was going along with them, and they mentioned Monica. And so the partners feels that Jack should play it safe. And so after she had the conversation with the partners, that's when she sat there and started looking at Bill the scammer's ass like, you shisty ass, shifty ass bastard. You went back and had a conversation with them. So we see as Jackson Lewis are actually no, after that, we see as Bill is in his office. So Bill the scammer is in his office on the phone with Kendra, and he's talking about a dinner date that he wants to set up the next night with Kendra, right? So Jackson went to his office and she was like, "So have you been having a fucking conversation with the partners about this case?" And he was like, "No, I'm a loyal man." I said, "Bullshit, Bill the scammer. Like you are full of shit." And I was just like, "Oh, Jax, the fact that you trusted him, just pissed me off. It pissed me the hell off." But it is what it is, right? So after that, we see as Jackson Lewis, they're in therapy, right? So Jack shared that they're going to be having dinner with, you know, his parents who are coming in from Philly. Then she invited Mama Lou and Eddie, and then his brother Terrence is going to be there. She fears that Lewis's parents are going to judge her parents, right? Because she says his parents give like the Huxtables type, right? And Lewis like, no, they're not gonna judge. And she was like, I think so, right? So then we found out that this was Jax's idea. And the therapist basically just told him, like, you guys are going in with these what ifs about what may potentially happen. And he was basically telling them, like, just go in, enjoy the evening, and let your guard down, right? So then we see Daniel. So Daniel is watching Kristen, and Kristen met up with this man, and who we don't know who he is, but we will find out later, right? So then after that, we saw Bill the Scammer and Kendra on their date. And, she asked him about work. And he was like, no, tell me how was your day? And she's like, that's a change of events because you never asked me how my day is, right? So then after, she said, you never asked how my day is. And he was like, because you always say same old shit. She's like, not really. She said, no, I don't. But then she's like, well, I guess that is true, right? So after that, we see as we move on from there, and things were going smoothly for them, right? So next up, we see Monica. So she went to go see Ozzy. She was upset because she got a subpoena from Jax, and he told her, you know what, Monica, at this point, I'm not even worried about that fucking subpoena. The thing that I'm worried about is, my birthday. And then he asked her, like, were you the one that took out Monica? And she was like, no. She was like, before the cops came over to question him, she went in his room and she found a bloody sweatshirt. So she was like, did you take her out? And he was like, no. And so then that's when I think he asked her before she asked him if she took out Monica, right? So they're both saying that they didn't take out Monica. So then his boys came by to celebrate his birthday. So the boys want to, probably partake in a little bit of, party favors, have some big booty bitches come over and all this kind of stuff. So Monica's sitting over here getting pissed, and Monica got ready to leave. And when she got ready to leave, they're like, no, you got to get the big booty bitches. And she's like, these niggas. I was like, Monica, girl, your slip is absolutely showing. Like, girl, if you don't want people to know that you got something going on with Ozzy, then don't let people know you got something going on with fucking Ozzy. But moving on, right? So after that, um, we get back to this date with Bill the Scammer and Kendra. So they got home and Bill the scammer thinking everything is good in the hood between him and Kendra. And Kendra hit him with the, yeah, nah, nigga, I contacted a divorce attorney, right? So then we get this meeting with Jax, Lewis, his parents, Mama Lou and Eddie and Terrence, right? At first things were awkward and Eddie kind of made some, commonality with Terrence, like, you do this, I do that. Like, maybe we should jam sometime. Terrence was a little bit reluctant, but he was like, sure. So then, you know, Lewis found out that his parents are moving to Florida and his mom is getting a condo. He's like, wait a minute, y'all not living together? They're like, we ain't lived together for quite some time now, right? So Lewis feels away. And Lewis was in his feelings. So then at one point, Eddie tried to, you know, find some common ground with his parents. And you can see Lewis's face, and Lewis's face was just, all turned upside down. And I was like, Lewis, sir, calm your ass the fuck down. Like, it ain't that deep, right? So after that, we see Ozzy. So he's back with his boys, right? So him and his boys are having fun with the strippers. And you can see Monica over there taking shots because Monica in her fucking feelings. So then we see Lewis move back over to their crib. So he's still in his feelings about his parents. And Terrence, because he was like, we grew up this way, we grew up that way. And so that's how I wanted to do this with my family. And I was so glad that Terrence called him on the bullshit. It's like, okay, you're upset with your parents for what they did, but put yourself in their shoes because you've been in their shoes. Because you had a baby outside of your marriage. And I was so happy that Terrence called that out. So Terrence was like, give mom and dad, listen to what they're, give them forgive them, listen to them the same way you wanted Naima and Spencer to do the same for you. Give mom and dad that same grace, and at the same time, give Eddie that same grace. And I was like, you know what, Terrence, come through with the come through. So then we move back over here to Ozzy. So Ozzy is getting it on with one of the strippers, right? And while he in the bedroom with the stripper, who comes in the bedroom? That nasty skank, Monica. So him and the girl getting it in, and Monica's whole ass come in there and undo her blouse and then put her hands down her pants. I said, you nasty bitch. So she getting off to Ozzy, and Ozzy is watching her. I'm like, ugh, nasty ass skank. Like, when it comes to Monica, I do not fucking like Monica. Don't see it for Monica, ain't gonna see it for Monica, right? But so moving on from that. But I was just like, oh, you nasty hoe. So then we move over to the to court, right? So Mike has taken over the case. And Mike has Kristen on the stand. So Mike is bringing up this text message that Kristen sent to Ozzy, right? And she, in the text message, she actually deleted the text. She unsent the text message to Ozzy. So what she did, so Mike is questioning her about what the text message was. So in the text message, she was telling him that it was okay, he wasn't wrong for what he was doing. Now we find out that Ozzy was going to fire his mom and dad as his managers. So that's what she was telling him was okay. But prosecution, they're gonna kind of flip it and twist it, right? So that's what happened. So then she started crying. So Jax got up, and so she cross-examined Kristen, and she was like, "So where are these emotions coming from?" And Kristen said that she's nervous and she feels like she's messing things up, right? So after that, Mike got back up to once again question Kristen, right? And then after that, she got upset. So Daniel followed in behind her and he told her everything is going to be okay. And so she hugged him. And then while they're hugging, Crystal saw and she was like, oh shit. Now we see as Jax called Monica down to the office, right? So she's playing Monica, telling Monica, you're right, and I'm willing to put my differences aside. Because she's telling her that she's right about all the stuff that she said to her when she confronted Jax the last time, right? So Jax is basically telling her that, we need you to get on the stand because you say it. You know Ozzy better than anyone. So who better than you to get onto the stand and talk towards his character. And I was like, Monica, you don't realize, but Jax is buttering you up to hit you with the okie doke. But go for it, girlfriend. Because I was like, girl, you are getting played like a fucking fiddle. But I was here for every single moment that Jax was playing that woman. So moving on. Now we see as Jax and Sally went out for dinner. Now while they're out for dinner, Bill the scammer showed up, right? And so he went over where Jax was and had a conversation with, was talking to Jax and talking to Sally, talking about, we don't, I ain't expect you to be on this side. And she's like, yeah, Sally lives in the hills. So she's like, yeah, Sally from the hills. So Sally let Jax know that she filed the divorce papers from Chris, and she also letting Jax know that you got this, right? So Sally told Bill, pull up a chair, come sit with us, right? And so we see as they hitting it off, right? And so Bill said he was gonna go pay for dinner. So when he went to go pay for dinner, Sally like, oh girl, like so she moved her wedding ring from her ring finger to her pinky, and she was like, and Jax was like, girl, he's married. And so she's like, girl, I ain't see a ring on his finger. And Jack's like, they want a ring on his finger? She said no. So Jax got up to go to the bathroom. When she got up to go to the bathroom, Sally got her phone because at one point Sally left and Jax told Bill, like, go home. And she was like, where did Bill the scammer go? She said he went home to his wife, his black wife. She's like, oh, I knew I smelled the shea butter and all that stuff. I said, Sally, you hot in the puss. Like, you just hot in the puss. So when Jax went to the bathroom, Sally got uh, his number and texted him that this is Sally from the hills. So then we move back over to court, you guys. So in court, we see Monica walk up to the stand. Bitch is out. She is just grinning from ear to ear. I was like, you are about to get eviscerated on this stand. But go on here, girlfriend. If you like it, I love it for you. But I just want you to know, your ass is about to get towed to shreds, right? So Jack started questioning Monica, asking her how long have you known Ozzy. She said she met him when he was 13. Then she asked her, like, what do you do for him? And she said she's his agent. And so she told, what she essentially does for Ozzy, right? And she said she has a very hands-on approach. And I was like, you nasty skank. So then Jack showed her a text message. And she was like, can you read the text message for us? So she read the text message. So in the text message, she called Wendy a white hoe, and that she was the first, and she gonna always be there. So Jax asked her, "So who are you calling? Who's the white hoe?" She said Wendy, and she said, "Okay, well, you also said you were his first. So what does that mean?" And she was like, "She was his first experience." And so Jax said, "Sexually?" And she said, yes. And so Jax asked her, so how old was he when this happened? And Monica was like, don't do this. And Jack's like, what do you mean don't do this? She said, and so Jack says to the judge, can you direct the witness to answer the question? So she was like, how old was he? And she said 13. So his mama got upset, and you can see Ozzy in the courthouse, and Ozzy is having this like outer body experience now that it's finally out to the world. And I really felt bad for him. So then after court, you see Monica going up to him, asking him, like, Ozzy, how could you do this to me? And also Jax did ask her, like, where were you the night that Wendy went missing? And so she said, I didn't take out Wendy. And she said, that's not what I asked you. So then after that, like I said, after court, Monica's asking Ozzy, like, how could you do this to me? And Ozzy was like, he had to think about it, and he was tired of protecting her, so he decided to put himself first. And she was like, I love you, Ozzy. I was like, you nasty. Like, you loved him after what you did to him. And he finally said he realized that she's a predator. And I was like, yes, Ozzy, she is. That's exactly who Monica is. So Monica was like, fuck you, Jax. You're going to regret this. I was like, girl, plenty of people have told Jax they're gonna regret. She's gonna regret it. But okay, girlfriend, you still a nasty ass bitch. Like, you still a nasty trifling hoe. Like, just nasty gutter. So then we see as Lewis called Daniel up to tell him to stop looking into Eddie. So Daniel is at the bar with the guy that he saw with Kristen, who was a reporter. So this reporter guy was going to get a story from Alex, but Alex backed out of the story. And so then we see as Daniel is at home and he's calling Alex up, like, answer the phone, Alex, but Alex didn't answer the phone. And so we see as Alex has this book. I thought it was the Bible, but I could be wrong. So Alex has this book that he's in, and it's a flash drive in there. And so Alex takes out the flash drive, and on the flash drive, you see Wendy. Now we don't know what is happening with the flash drive. So Daniel got a call from someone, and that person told him that they were telling him something about Jax's dad. So Oz, not Ozzy, but Daniel called him to leave a message and said that, before you call us off with Eddie, there's something that he's not telling you, right? And so then we see as Bill the scammer and Sally are having sex with each other. I was like, I knew, hot in the puss. Sally just is hot in the puss, right? So they were getting it in with each other. And then after that, we see as Lewis is having a conversation with Eddie. And so Eddie is telling, Lewis not to say anything until Lou has a chance to say something to Jax. And I was like, what is this that Mama Lou got to tell her? So we find out that Mama Lou has cancer. And that's where the episode ended, you guys. So let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, you guys, and also share the video. And until the next time, you guys, do me a solid favor. Stay safe out there, you guys. Take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.